Okay, so when it comes to competitor monitoring, this is where we need to start using our social media tools. This is where we start to see that intersection. In addition to, obviously Google integrating like +1, and you can actually see recommendations from your friends. I think they have Twitter down in the search results as well. So you're seeing a lot of that social interaction. Well, I'm a big fan of competitor monitoring and just monitoring in general because there's a lot of really cool things that we can learn from it. So outside of the traditional, are people saying good things, bad things about us? Some things that I really like to focus on from a monitoring perspective are tracking keyword and brand mentions, especially from your competitors. Don't just put in, let's say don't just put in Raven Tools. Put in Raven Tools guest post, or put in a specific person's name. Put in Taylor Pratt guest post, so I can see everywhere that they're going out and guest blogging. That way I know which sites are open to it, and I can match whatever link that they just got, hopefully get a couple better ones in there as well. Especially with keywords as well. This way you can find additional forums to be participating on. I mean, try and get really specific with this. Some of the tools out there will allow you to segment by influencer rating. So what they'll do is they'll look at, Twitter I think is the one that they all use, and they'll look at their follower count. You can say, I don't want to see anything from anyone unless they have at least 10,000 followers on Twitter. That way I know when that person tweets, people listen, and I need to reach out to them and start getting in front of their audience. And they're an influencer that I need to start reaching out to, maybe kick them to the top of our affiliate program, get them talking about us. We saw that with our own tool set. A lot of a couple major SEO influencers started writing about Raven, and then we started seeing more and more people signing up for it. So it can have a huge impact without a lot of work on your end. I use this to find great content and link-bait ideas. The real-time social media monitors are awesome because you can see, all right, there's a huge spike, like when Not Provided was launched. All of a sudden we see this huge spike and everybody talking about it. So what we did is we hurried and wrote a blog post about it as quickly as we could. Get that out there, and you can do that for whatever is hot in your industry. If you're seeing over the last week everybody's talking about a specific thing, then you know to write about it. When I did social for Chili's, one of the things that we used this for was figuring out, all right, what are people saying about us? When we saw a huge bump in everybody talking about how unhealthy the food was, it told us, hey, now we need to do some kind of marketing scheme around our healthy options and showing people that there are other things they can be talking about. Then we create contests around this so they can try and pick, which food do you think is the healthiest kind of, game or widget or whatever you want to do to start attracting those links that will help your SEO. Oh, and the simple one is, I hate it when people write about us and they don't link to us, and it drives me crazy, and I don't have time to sit around and go through them all. So this is picking up all the brand mentions. I can see if there's a link in it or not. If there is, if there isn't, it's the easiest link for you to go out and get, right? You just contact them and say, hey, kiss their ass a little bit, and then you can get the link from them. The major players in social media monitoring, I tried to, outside of Attentio, I tried not to put any in here that would really break the bank. Attentio, the benefit and reason why they're so expensive is because they're multilingual, and they do a really good job of filtering in those languages as well. And this is really important if we go back to that insights that I was showing you a little bit earlier, where we could see, the different TLDs getting a lot of traffic. This can really help you keep track of that if you have that global product. But Social Mention is a great one that's free. They have manual sentiment analysis. You have to be careful with sentiment analysis because you could end up spending too much time going through and fixing all of the crappy sentiment analysis that was automatically applied. Like the example that I always saw was, this was especially the case in the food industry, was I hate X and X restaurant, but I love this one. And so when they see hate or they see suck, they automatically flag it as negative. Then you got to go through and find all these different mentions about it, and it ends up being a lot more work than just going through and doing it manually. But Uberview does a great job of filtering for you and has a really robust automatic sentiment analysis. Unfortunately, I hate it when companies make you contact them to get the price. It drives me crazy. But they are one of those instances. Same with Sysomos. Brand's Eye is really cool too. Okay, so if you have, let's say you have a smaller team, you don't have enough time to go through all these different mentions, what Brand's Eye will do is they'll automatically escalate it for you based on the tone of that mention. So they'll tell you, all right, this is a red flag, or this is getting a lot of attention, a lot of people are talking about whatever this particular article is, so hey, if something does occur and I need to respond in real time to put out that fire, they will have just picked it up in priority for you without you having to go through and evaluate it yourself. So that can save you a ton of time. And when you look at tools, we see price tags of $150 a month, and we're like, Jesus, that's expensive. For a lot of us, that's coming directly out of our pockets, and that's not fun. But what you need to think about is how much time does it end up saving you? We get told a lot that Raven, even at $99, is really expensive, and I tell them, if it saves you an hour a month, don't you value your time at least $99 an hour? I mean, what do you end up charging your clients? And so this is something that you can use to justify that. And don't forget, you could always work it into buying contracts if you need to. There might be a monthly fee for them to get access to your tools, or for them to just have these tools available to them. All right. The other thing that I really like to do around social media, and this really helps from an SEO perspective, is event tracking in Google Analytics. I assume you all probably use Google Analytics, right? Well, event tracking is something that it basically allows you to set up different types of goals without a destination URL. So you have your normal goal where if I fill out let's say I buy a product, then I get a thank you page. That's your traditional goal. Well, event will allow you to keep track of those goals, even though they're not actually going anywhere, or maybe they're going off-site. And so what I like to do is I like to put event tracking around my blog commenting, around my social sharing options, so that I can keep track of in Google Analytics without having to go to every single blog post and say, all right, which one was shared the most? And which one gets the most tweets? Which one gets the most comments? Instead of having to look at every single one, go in Google Analytics and then sort by it. And I can just see it in one view. I know what my top 5 blog posts are from a Facebook-like perspective or from a blog comment perspective, so I know what kind of content I should be focusing on. So that can be really valuable. And if you're not comfortable setting this kind of stuff up in Google Analytics, there's a tool that I'll show you in just a little bit.